Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once more to the West Ham Massive, and thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to drop a like on this stream, comment on the stream, share it to your social media platforms, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon for alerts of new content. All of these things take a few seconds to do. They're completely free of charge, and they help grow the channel tremendously. So if you could do all of those things, I really would appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. I originally planned this. Hang on, let me just get rid of that. What I did is, as I had a little trip down to the coast today, lovely day where I live at the minute. The weather's sort of pretty nice, pretty warm, sun's out. I hope it is where you are as well. 22 of you watching. Thanks for joining us. And I've got this week and I've got next week off work. So I jumped in the motor with the missus and the dog. We had a little boot down to, it's a little place that's sort of like sandwiched between Ramsgate and Broadstairs. There's a place called Dumperton Gap. Doesn't sound particularly glamorous, but it's a nice little sandy beach. You can take dogs on there all year round. You know, you clean up after yourself. Jobs are good. And I was on my way down there. We finally got the news that we've been suspecting we were going to get. And it broke around about midday, 1:15, something like that, that Aaron Wan-Bissaka had been announced as a West Ham player. Now, obviously, it's been as a bit of a protracted saga. We was interested in, then we was looking elsewhere. We was looking at Kieran Trippier. We was looking at Ferdi Kadiolu. We was looking at Kyle Walker-Peters. We was looking at Nouasir Mazraoui. There was a number of names that we were linked with along the way, and you started to wonder whether we was going to go left, we're going to go right. They were all right backs with different skill sets, with different traits, strengths, weaknesses, and all the rest of it. But Aaron Wan-Bissaka was always someone that we kept coming back to. There was this standoff about the, I don't know if it was £3 million payoff, because look, at the end of the day, Manchester United wanted him out the door. He's not agitated for this move. He didn't turn around to Manchester United and down tools and say, I'm not playing for you. So he felt he was owed a loyalty bonus, and the club were trying to sort of weasel out of it from what I can see, or trying to bolt whatever they were obligated to pay him onto the club that was going to take him off their hands, which I think is fundamentally wrong. I think that at the end of the day, they've got to stump up the cash. You know, any club that buys him, and in this case, it was us. Why should we have to pay that? It's not a loyalty bonus that we was involved in. That's between Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Manchester United. It's got nothing to do with us. So you two sort it out. So anyway, they've obviously come to some sort of arrangement. It's all been sorted out. It's all been glossed over. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is now officially a West Ham United player. We've got him on a 7-year deal, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is a real coup. You know, 7-year contract. I don't know. Is that the longest that we've ever signed a player on? I don't know of any other player that we've signed for a contract as long as that. I remember when we signed Andy Carroll, I think we signed him on, I don't know if it was a 5 or a 6-year deal. I remember it was a long time. It was a big, it was seen then as a bit of a statement of intent. Now, obviously, I know that was a striker. This is a right back, maybe not quite a glamour position, but at the end of the day, we've got a player to put pen to paper and agree to a 7-year contract. He's 26 years of age. By the time that's finished, he's going to be 33. Now, for me, he's still got his peak years to come, and I'm excited because I think that this is certainly an upgrade on Vladimir Coufal, and I mean no disrespect to Vladimir Coufal. for 5 million quid for the service that he's given the club, it's been absolutely outstanding value for money. And what he's done in the 3 or 4 years that he's been with the club, I can't thank him enough. Obviously, part of the team that lifted the trophy in Prague two seasons ago. But time waits for no man. And it was fairly clear last season and also in pre-season that his powers are diminishing. His powers are on the wane, and he needs to be replaced with the best will in the world. I know people turn around and say Aaron Wan-Bissaka offensively maybe doesn't offer as much as most modern fullbacks, but I'm sure that Julien Lopetegui can coach into him something, make him better than what he is now. I mean, don't forget, he started his career as a right winger. So I'm just wondering whether the coach can tap into that part of his backstory and get him to maybe be slightly more offensive. But fundamentally, I kind of am a bit old school in that, well, he's a defender by trade. So I kind of want him to be able to defend. Trent Alexander-Arnold, for example, a player that for most of his career has played at right back. I know they're trying to transition him now into central midfield, but for most of his career up to this point, he's played as a right fullback. And yet everybody turns around and says he can't defend. Hang on, he's a defender. He should be able to defend. Oh, he's brilliant going forwards. Yeah, that's nice, but he should be able to defend. Well, this guy can defend. This guy is strong. He's quick. He's great in the tackle. There ain't really too many left wingers that are going to get the better of him this season. That's an absolute certainty. So I'm really happy to see this business done. It's our 8th summer signing. I suspect that from here on in, if we make any more signings, they're probably going to be on a one in, one out basis. Look, we've got a lot of players that I think we do need to move on. I think that it's going to be one of either Mavropanos or Aguirre that's going to move on. I think it's one of Souček or James Ward-Prowse that's going to move on. I think we need to move on players like Danny Ings, players like Maxwell Cornet. They need to be moved on. We need to try and get as much money as we can for them. But it's good news. We're strengthening right areas. Obviously, there's a few names that are still being linked with us. Carlos Soler, Trevor Chalobah, and I've still got a funny feeling that the John Duran deal might not be dead. I've just got this sneaking suspicion we will probably get past the Villa game on Saturday, and there will be something that towards the transfer deadline, something happens. I don't know whether it's going to be a permanent. I don't know whether it's going to be loan with an obligation or something along those lines. I've just got a funny feeling that Jean Duran is not, that deal is not done. I don't know. I'm not an ITK. I am just a regular fan, same of you guys. But I've just got a funny feeling that they're going to need to get him out, because if he's still a Villa player when that window closes, what's his value going to be when they can next have an opportunity to sell him in January? He'll have probably, in all likelihood, at that point, have been sitting on the bench for the entirety of from when the window closes to when it reopens in January. So his value will have obviously diminished. So they need to capitalize. They need to move him on a little bit sharpish, because otherwise it's just going to diminish with every single month that goes on from that point on. His value is going to go down. The leverage goes from Aston Villa as the selling club with having that sort of player with all that potential, all that promise. The leverage disappears from them once that window shuts. So I think as it gets closer to the transfer window closing in this summer transfer window, I think that it's very likely going to be that they're going to start to panic. They are going to start to go, we've got a problem here and we need to get him out, because we don't want to have a player that's essentially going to be a little bit of a problem, a little bit of trouble. He's a bad boy. He's caused a little bit of friction behind the scenes. We need to get him out. We need to get him out. And I think that could play into our hands. I think this is a little bit of a game of chicken, a little bit of a game of poker. Who blinks first? We'll wait and see. Anyway, that's just my thoughts on it. There's 37 of you guys watching. Really would appreciate it if you could all put a like on this stream as I look on YouTube right now. So it would help the channel if you could just drop a like on the stream. I'm just going to have a little dive into the live chat, but get as many of your comments in as possible, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll drill down into it as much as possible in the time that I've got available to me. Matt's there. Hope you are well, Matt. The best thing about this window so far is how swift the deals have been. Although getting Wan-Bissaka over the line took longer than it should have done. But in the past, we would have walked away, but not this time. Do you know what, Matt? The thing that frustrates me is that I think there was a lull. There was a period in this transfer window where it went a couple of weeks and it was very, very quiet. We made those couple of early signings of Fotheringham, Guilherme, and Kilman. And then once we made those three signings, there was this lull. There was this tumbleweed. And I was one of them that was questioning what the hell is going on here. Well, I think now that that's put me firmly in my place, but I still would have liked to have got a lot of these deals over the line sooner and had those players having a couple more opportunities to play more minutes, more friendlies. That's just my take on it. But I can't say that the business that's been done hasn't been really good business so far. And I've got a funny feeling that we're not done yet. I'm really not. Matt goes on to say, we got every deal done and also surprised a heck of a lot of people with the Guido Rodriguez deal. Yep, I didn't see that one coming either. I seriously didn't. That came completely out of left field. We're looking serious contenders this season, and I think we could do something big this season. Maybe not winning the league, but maybe a cup or finishing in a European spot. All things are possible, Matt. All things are possible. Michael, hope you are well. Great window. Who will be the next two signing? Who will be next two signing afternoon? Oh, wait, yeah. Who will be the next two signings afternoon, Gatesy? Right. So, okay. So it's my fault. Next two signings. Obviously, we, as I say, I think John Duran. I don't think that's completely dead in the water. And possibly Trevor Chalobah, because I was hearing on the radio he's not even training with the first team. So again, Chelsea need to move him on. So again, we can leverage that to our advantage. Iron Wan-Bissaka, very good, Barry. I like what you did there. I see what you did, and I like it. 27 in Dagenham at the moment. Is it, Michael? I tell you what, it was quite warm down on the south coast when I was there earlier. Down on the Kent coast, it was very, very nice. Are we now a big club? No, we're massive, Michael. We are massive. You know the rules. We are massive. We're not just big, we're massive. Adrian, hope you well. You was paddleboarding off of Whitstable. I drove past you then. In fact, I drove past you twice on the A299. And exactly that, Sean. You tell him we are not big. We are massive. That is correct. Well done. Well done. Yes, that's an interesting one. A 9-year contract. It beggars belief. I mean, I think a 7-year contract for Wan-Bissaka is quite unusual. And as I say, I can't remember signing a West Ham player to a contract of that length. But it's a statement of intent. It's a statement of how much the club want him, how much the club believe in him. So obviously he's now got to deliver, and I believe he can. So let's see how he goes. Yeah. Oh, okay. So yes, completely correct, Bob. You've jogged my memory now. In fact, Kent has followed up with a similar point that it's Jared Bowen has also got a 7-year deal in the bag, but it's not something that we've done traditionally down the years. But 7-year boat, you're right, Jared Bowen, 7 years. I guess probably in terms of bringing in Wan-Bissaka specifically, not so much Jared Bowen, but in terms of Wan-Bissaka, correct me if I'm wrong. Does that not mean that the costs of the deal will essentially be spread over the entirety of those 7 years? I believe that's how it works. Michael, only thing we will miss from Vlad the Impaler will be those long throws. Well, look, if that's it, then can't we find someone and don't Max Kilman? I'm pretty sure, doesn't Max Kilman have a reputation with taking long throws? I'm pretty sure he does, doesn't he? It helps with FFP. I'm pretty sure it does, or I think they've replaced FFP now, haven't they, Barry? I think they call it PSR, Profit and Sustainability Rules. Matt says Bowley is only there till next season, and he moves aside and someone else takes over. Let's hope he does things differently. Interesting. Chelsea with 40 plus transfers in the past 2 years. Somebody was saying, have they got about 8 or 9 goalkeepers? I don't know if that's true or not, but they've got some ridiculous amount of goalkeepers. And it's like, you're not going to need all this. This is ridiculous. But you're right there, Adrian. There's some agents out there that are absolutely laughing all the way to the bank. And it's thanks to Chelsea Football Club. 2 more incomings. Who will they be? As I say, I think I've got a funny feeling Trevor Chalobah and John Duran. I've just got a sneaking suspicion John Duran is not done. 8 goalkeepers, 2. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, exactly that. Barry says Jed Wood out. I think one of them's going. Rush goalie law coming out soon. That they might have to just for Chelsea. They might have to implement that just for them. I would keep Souček. He can be useful if needed to defend a lead or to get a goal late in a game. I think I'd be inclined to agree with that. I think James Ward-Prowse started well in a claret and blue shirt, but it's I'd probably say after the new year, it started to sort of peter out, and he's never his free kicks have gone to pot. I mean, we've brought in someone that's got the second most amount of goals from free kicks in the Premier League history, second only to David Beckham. And he's never really looked like scoring. I can't remember a free kick that he's taken where the goalkeeper's had to dive full length to get a fingertip on it and it was going into the top corner. I don't remember. Maybe it has, and I've just completely erased it from my memory bank, but I can't remember that. So I think you're right, Michael. I think if it was me, I think it would probably be keep Souček and move James Ward-Prowse on. The question is, who would take him? And would we get something approaching what we paid for him? So I think he would be open to a move back to Saints, and I've got a funny feeling that Saints would be quite happy to get him through the door. But again, it all hinges on the price. They're probably not going to want to pay what we're going to want for him. So we'll just have to wait and see. That's insane. Worst game of 2 touch in the Prem. Apart from Kufal, Souček, and Antonio, says Adrian. Villa fined Duran 2 weeks' wages for his ex-tweet crossing arms. Well, that's just, as I say, that's not going to be a situation that's going to get any better as time rolls on. I think they're going to have to get him out of the door. So, as I say, and I think that's where as the transfer window starts to wind to a close, I think that's where actually the power that once upon a time Aston Villa had over us, they had the leverage over us. I think at that point, the tables turn quite dramatically, in my view. Joan, hope you're well. Hi, Gatesy. I'm delighted about AWB. Duran wants to play every week, so I wouldn't want him. He's trouble. A lot of people said that Payet was trouble, and obviously he turned out to be in the end. But a lot of people said that he was trouble. A lot of people said Arnautovic was trouble. A lot of people said Di Canio was trouble. A lot of people said that Dix was trouble, if not the first time he signed for us under John Lyall, but the second time he signed for us under Billy Bonds. Was it Billy Bonds or no? It was Harry. Sorry, excuse me. I think it was Harry that brought him back. It was Billy that moved him on. I'm pretty sure by the time he came back, it was Harry. So I have to correct myself there. 58 of you watching at the minute. Could you please make sure you put a like on the stream? Really would appreciate it. It helps out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. Michael goes on to say, I think Chelsea have 40 players that don't train with the first team. The amount they have. Mate, that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Kevin, hope you are well. Thanks for joining us. Can only spread it over 5 now. Is that right? As I say, I'm never quite sure how these things work. I've got to be honest. I'm not an accountant. I'm not an expert on the financial sort of workings of Premier League games. I mean, people like Gio from Hammers Chat, he's very knowledgeable about this sort of stuff, and he makes me feel quite inadequate when he starts sort of like telling me about, or on his streams and sort of saying about this or this or this, and I'm sitting there just sort of scratching my head, going, I'm not quite sure I'm following this. There's probably a reason why I do the job I do, and I'm not an accountant. Michael goes on to say, I think the FA now have a 5-year payment to prevent long contracts from this season. Wow. And Matt confirms, yeah, they've got 8 goalkeepers. Bloody hell. That is absolutely astonishing, isn't it? Matt goes on to say, JWP faded. He's not as good as people thought he was. The one thing I will say is that when we signed him, And as I've referenced this, I've got a guy at work who I'm quite close with, who is a Southampton fan, season ticket holder. And he said that James Ward-Prowse, when we signed him, good player, blah, 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 blah. He did, however, make a very telling comment and said that probably, if he was being honest, though, the reason why he's not a top level player and why he's never really sort of cracked it as a regular for England is because he's not got the mobility, he's not dynamic enough, and that's where he falls down. And we've seen that. Usual suspect, hope you are well. Is that true? Duran got fined 2 weeks' wages. He must have done usual. I mean, I don't think it would be something that Villa would take lightly, and neither should they, if I'm being honest. Because if it was one of our players and they were quite openly making overtures towards another club, come and get me, on their social media, do you think we would sort of take too kindly at that? Do you think we'd not sort of turn around and go, hold on a minute, you're bringing our club's name into disrepute? So I think we would have to deal with that, and I don't blame Villa for it. Kent goes on to say, I think 3 more signed. 3. Okay. So Trevor Chalobah, Soler, and Duran. I think Big Tom will go because it's looking good for PSR. As I say, I think on balance, I would probably be more happy, if that's the right word, more content, not happy, but more content if it was to be James Ward-Prowse moving on. Souček, for his limitations, I've obviously grown quite fond of down the years. So I think I'd probably say James Ward-Prowse. But you know what will happen? When he goes back to Saints, which is where I'm predicting he will end up, he will probably, on his first match, get a free kick and he will bend it into the top corner. Wouldn't you know it? Guys, there's 65 of you watching. Thanks for joining us. Do drop a like on the stream. Honestly, I can't tell you. It won't cost you a penny. It will take you a second to do, and it will get this product, this content. I keep calling it product. I don't know why. It'll get this content out to other people that might not otherwise get it. So please just drop a like on the stream and give us a sub. Thank you very much. Darren, hope you're well. I'm going to say 2, but obviously Kent's just there said 3. I'm going to say 2, but they're probably going to be done on the basis of, because we haven't really moved too many players on. I know we did earlier in the window. We obviously made Tilo Kehra's move permanent. We made Said Benrahma's move permanent, etc., etc. But we've not, since we've started bringing all these players through the door, where we've had this sort of like door that's been sort of like rotating at a very fast rate, we've not actually shipped anyone off out. So I think not a sale anyway. I'm not including loans, obviously. So I think that probably from here on in that we're going to have to do it on a 1 in, 1 out basis. So that's where I would probably be saying that, okay, we need to make a decision here with all of the things that we've got going for us, with the pluses and the minuses. Who are the players that we really need to get out of the door? Mavropanos or Aguirre? I don't think we can afford to get rid of both of them. But I think that one of them needs to go. I think obviously Souček and James Ward-Prowse, same thing. One of them stays, one of them goes. If we can move Ings on, if we can move on Maxwell Cornet, that's another bonus. We can obviously get a bit of money in. We're not going to get an awful lot of money, but it obviously gets their wages off of the books. It's a saving from that point of view. So I'm going to say 2, possibly 3, but I don't think it's going to be too much more than that. Sean, I think we might get the PSG player Soler. Think he will be back up to Paquetá. Yeah, I think we do need a backup to him, but I think we need someone that's going to come in and put pressure on Paquetá, someone that we can rest and rotate, because I don't think it's fair for him to be expected to play 38 Premier League games, domestic games. Obviously, we haven't got Europe this time. So, but we'll wait and see. Usual, yes, he's had his disciplinary after his holiday. Absolutely. Epic, hope you are well. Fulkrug could be another Ings situation. I'm not happy about this signing. Should have waited for Omeridian. Look, we obviously had to make a move. I don't think he's going to be that bad. I think he'll be all right. He's different. He's not He's not the same sort of striker as Antonio. He's not the same sort of striker as a Kudus and a Bowen. I know they're not number 9s, but they're forwards, if you will. He's something different. He offers us something different. Another weapon in the arsenal, if you catch my drift. We do well with troubled players. They normally become icons here. Again, I reference Paolo Di Canio. I reference Dimitri Payet. I reference Marko Arnautovic. All bad boys. And they came to the club and they obviously did well. I know that in the case of Arnautovic and Payet, the way they left was a little bit under a cloud. But for the service they actually gave us, they obviously got people off their seats. They scored goals. They got people, really enjoying their output whilst they was at the club. Exactly that, Matt. You're quite correct. William, hope you are well. I would love Duran at our club. We like a bad boy. We do. We do love a maverick. We do love a maverick. We certainly do. Dick, second time, Harry. Yep, I thought it was Harry. When I said Billy, I thought, no, hang on. I'm sure it was Harry. Literally, as the word left my mouth, I went, no, hang on. It was Billy that sold him, and we got David Burrows and Mike Marsh. And then it was about a year, 18 months later that he came back. And I'm pretty sure by then Bill had gone and Harry had replaced him. So, yeah, and Hutchison. Yeah, Hutchison was a good signing for us, I thought, the first time around. The second time around, I don't think it really worked out so much. I think that was an injury that put paid to him on that one. Adrian says, with Earthy going out on loan, yes, he has, Adrian. Not sure we have anyone to control the pace of the game. If Paquetá is not playing, Soler could be that player. I'll be honest with you, Adrian. I'm not going to lie and say I know an awful lot about the player. I'm aware of his, what people say his attributes are, and that he is something of a playmaker type player. So I think, and I have always thought that if Paquetá is injured or if Paquetá is suspended, who goes into that role? And it's something that I don't think we've got someone at the club that I believe is a natural replacement for him. So if Soler comes in, from what people have told me, he is that type of player. I guess the question is he going to be happy to come into a club where he's essentially going to play second fiddle? That's always the thing. Chris, hope you are well, and there's no need to bow again. Matt says that's what Rodriguez does. Okay, fair enough. William goes on to say, we need teams to come in for these players. We do. Of Zuma's another one, of course. I mean, I've virtually pushed him out the door already, to be honest with you. And it does strike me as a little bit odd with him that we're literally giving him away and the club have turned around and gone, oh, we think there's a problem with his knees. Duh. Why do you think we're giving him away for nothing? Anyway, keep your thoughts coming in about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, though, guys. Not just sort of like the wider transfer chat. I mean, you can if you want, but let's try and get some more thoughts on Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming in and your thoughts. Do you think it's a good signing, or do you think that we've, maybe we could have done better elsewhere? I'd really like to know what you think. Michael comes in, says net spend is probably around 70 million at the moment, so PSR is not a problem. I think I worked it out the other day, and I think it's, what did I say it was? Because I went on the transfer market, didn't I? And I worked out the ins and the outs, and I worked out the net spend and converted it, because it was all in euros and it was all according to transfer market. And I can't remember what I said, but I think that probably is about right there, Michael. I think you're probably onto something. Adrian says to Matt that I see Rodri helps to keep the ball, but not picking the quick pass through the lines. Michael says Zuma needs to go on a free. It would save us 5.5 million in wages. 100%, mate. I mean, in my mind, he's already gone. William says transfer show said we spend over 117 million. Well, I'm not going to argue with that, William. I'm not. So that might come in time. Once he settles. Fair enough. No problem. Sorry if sort of like, it's too warm. I'm reading and my brain's not working. Sorry about that. It's probably not you. I've got a cheeky beer here. As I say, I'm on annual leave, so I can do this. Oh, that's very nice. Peroni, if you please. Peroni. I know how to roll. Adrian goes in to say Todibo is alone in in the books this year? He is, yes. He's a loan with an obligation to buy, from what I understand, Adrian. So, Mad Dog and Monks, yes, absolutely, Pitts. Welcome along. Yeah, 2 more players that were Mavericks, bad boys, players with a bit of edge. We love that, don't we, at West Ham? We really do. William says, drop Kudus in if no Pac-Man. Yeah, he could play there. Is that what we want to do? I mean, you know, are you robbing Peter to feed Paul? I don't know. Matt says 80, 90, I think you said. I can't remember now. My brain is just melting. So I'd have to go back and look at what it was I actually said. I mean, obviously, with this signing, it obviously, you know, it's an undisclosed fee for Wan-Bissaka. But it's believed to be 15 million quid. I'm just going to break off from this just real quickly. So let's just get back on topic. I've done what I usually do. I've gone off on a tangent, and we're obviously here to discuss Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So let's have a little look on the West Ham webpage. So it obviously announced the signing of Aaron Wan-Bissaka on a 7-year contract. As I say, on here, it's an undisclosed fee. And it goes on to say he made 190 appearances for Manchester United across the 5 seasons he was with them. He obviously has a reputation of being a very good one-on-one defender, one of the best in the Premier League, if not one of the best in Europe. He has won the FA Cup, he's won the EFL Cup, and he also was a runner-up in the UEFA Europa League. Okay. He has been capped by the Democratic Republic of Congo and England at under 20s, under 21 sort of level. He's not got a full international cap. He has been called up for the England squads, but he's never actually taken to the pitch in a competitive match. He will have the number 29 shirt. Now, I was a little bit surprised at that. I don't know if there's a reason for that, because I thought that the number 2 was vacant, because wasn't it Ben Johnson? I'm sure it was Ben Johnson that had it, and obviously he left. Now, I don't know that anyone's taken the number 2 shirt since Ben Johnson walked out the door. And obviously number 2 is usually the shirt that a right back takes. So I'm not quite sure why he's wearing number 29. Maybe that he just has a liking for that number, a bit like Declan Rice likes the number 41, or Stephen Bywater, he likes to have the number 43 because his mentor was Les Sealey, and he passed away at the age of 43. So from that point on, he basically had the number 43. So anyway, let's go on. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka is quoted on the West Ham website saying, "It was a no-brainer for me to join West Ham. I'm excited and happy to be here. It's an amazing feeling to be back in London, and I'm excited for what's coming. I was born here, so I know the ins and outs of London, which plays a big part in my life. So to be back playing in this city means a lot for me. I'm happy to be here. I'm grateful for the warm welcome, and I am excited to be playing for the club and will give it my all. I can't wait to get on the pitch, get to know the players, and push on from there. I see a team that is in it together, that will push each other to win, and a group that has got each other's backs through thick and thin. So being part of that and having that insurance helps a lot when you're surrounded by a good squad." Now, they've also quoted the man of the moment, Tim Steidten, the technical director. He's quoted on the West Ham website as saying as follows: "I am delighted we have been able to get the deal to sign Aaron over the line. He's exactly the type of player we're looking to attract to this club in the prime years of his career." Exactly what I said. "He's an incredibly talented defender who we rate very highly. Superb in one-on-one situations. He's versatile too, which is clearly another positive. He's played over 170 Premier League games during his career. He knows the division inside out. I'd like to personally thank the board for their continued backing to bring players of such quality to West Ham. It's a really exciting time for us as we prepare for the start of the new season this weekend." There you go. That is good good news. Now, there's 7 things that they also say on the website that you need to know about Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So let's just really quickly go on with it. So number 1, he started out with a renowned junior club. Now, that junior club, if you know the area of Croydon, Bromley, that sort of neck of the woods, he was born in Croydon. He grew up in New Addington, which is not too far. It's on the way towards West Wickham, if you know that part of the world. He started his football career at the famous Junior Elite Football Club, which is in Beckenham, just up the road. And there was other players there that was such as Emile Smith-Rowe and Jed Spence. He had the number 14 shirt as a youngster because his hero growing up was the Arsenal and French forward Thierry Henry. The really interesting thing is, though, there's a photograph on the West Ham website of, I'm assuming it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka and his brother, I believe, and his mum and dad. So they're like little toddlers, and the kids are in Manchester United shirts. So go figure. So the second little factoid is he joined Crystal Palace at 11. He was invited for a 6-week trial. It took just 2 weeks for him to sign for the Eagles. They were really impressed by him. He started out as a winger. He sometimes played as a number 10. And this is what I'm saying. You know, he has, in his backstory, he has an offensive part to his game. As I say, he was a winger. He was a playmaker. He eventually moved to fullback. He was moved there by Roy Hodgson because he was asked to mark Wilfred Zaha in training, and he really impressed him, and off he went from there. He won a lot of awards at Crystal Palace. He won, very young player of the year. He won Player of the Month awards, and he also won their Player of the Year award. And bear in mind, he's been at Manchester United for 5 years. He's 26. He was there. He won their Player of the Year by the time he was 21, if my maths is correct. Now, as I say, he has international experience. As I say, his parents are from the Democratic Republic of Congo. They also lived in the Netherlands and Germany before they settled in South London. Now, as I say, he has had caps at under 20 level for the Democratic Republic of Congo. He has also been called up by the England under 20s. Obviously, they also had 3 caps for the under 20s as well. As I say, he has been called up by the full national squad, but he's never taken to the pitch in a competitive international or a friendly for that matter. As I say, he's been at Manchester United since the age of 21. He's got 190 appearances in all competitions, and he's got 2 goals, 13 assists. He's obviously, like I say, he's got an FA Cup win, he's got a League Cup win, and he's got a Europa League runners-up medal to boot. So he knows how to, big game player. He knows what it takes to get over the line. And also he says on this website that he is also what they call a community champion. He was named the Crystal Palace PFA Community Champion in 2019, having given his time to the Palace for Life Foundation. So he's someone that is all about giving back to his local community. So I think that's very commendable. So that's basically a little insight into the player that we've signed. All good news. As 74 of you watching, 73 now, one of you decided to clear off. You got a better offer. But the 73 of you that are still watching, if you haven't already done so, make sure you drop a like on the stream. It helps the channel out. It costs you nothing. It takes a second. 77 of you watching. If we can get 77 likes, that's absolutely stunning. And any of you guys that haven't, please, please, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Again, it doesn't cost you a penny. I know people see the word subscribe and people think there's a cost implication. There isn't. Subscribing to this channel doesn't cost you a copper coin at all. Let's get back to the comments. So, Raja, we need a backup left back. Cresswell's done. I've said this. I don't think that he puts pressure on Emerson. I really don't, but we'll wait and see. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, star in cup final against City. He was. Darren says, AWB, great signing. Manx paid 50 million. We played 15. Long contract as well. AWB, fantastic signing. Massive upgrade on Kufal. I agree, Artel, 100%. David Lodge says AWB is the answer to our leaky defence. I think him and Todibo, and I do think Kilman will come good. I think that 40 million probably was a bit steep, but it's the old English tax, isn't it? So, but I think that the defence is going to be better this season. I mean, look, we conceded, 60 Premier League goals last season? We can't do that again. We will not concede 60 goals in the Premier League this season. I'm pretty convinced. Barry says, Tim would star in Bargain Hunt or Tim's Real Deal. He would indeed. William says he's AWB is a smashing upgrade for a right back. I believe he is. AWB, last part of the puzzle, just needs some glue to fill the bench. I think you're probably onto something there. Andre Wan-Bissaka is what I now call him. That's my fault. It's because I kept getting my words confused and I kept calling him Andre. So, yeah, we're just going to call him Andre. Stuff it. I don't think he'll mind. Adrian says, if we can solidify the back and also free up Bowen of some of his defensive duties, not sure there were many better options at 15 million quid. I think it's a great value for money signing. I really do. Michael says, most sites reporting 15 million for AWB, but don't say euros or pounds. I heard pounds. I've heard 15 million pounds, but I stand to be corrected on that one. Tim is our best signing. He seems to be at the minute, doesn't he, William? He's really coming up trumps. As I say, I was beginning to doubt him until a couple of weeks ago, and then it's just gone completely ballistic. We're signing any player with a pair of legs. And probably, I think, even players in wheelchairs might. I'm only joking. That was us in the old days. William says 3-2-4-1 new setup. I don't know, mate. I got a funny feeling he's going to try and play three at the back. I think he's either going to go with a 3-4-2-1 or a 4-3-3, possibly. We'll see. The thing is, with the players that he's brought in, there's a lot of versatility if you look at it. Barry says, without a doubt. Michael says, numbers mean nothing nowadays. Players pick their faves. You're right. Matt, hope you're well. Thanks for coming. Michael says, 4-3-3, a midfielder will drop him when Wan-Bissaka goes forward. Hopefully so. West Ham is a squeaky bum fixture for most clubs now. Well, as I've put in the title, the Premier League are running scared, mate. I'll tell you what, we are not here to make up the numbers. Andy Irving did. You're right. That's a great point. Well, so what's happened there? I mean, it did say when they released the numbers, it did say it was subject to change. So I think what they were trying to say is don't go getting your club shirt printed just yet until the window's shut, because we might move things around. But it definitely says here on the club's own website that he has got the number 29 shirt. Let me just look. Let me just wind back. Right, I'll tell you what, just so that anyone doesn't think that this is me talking a load of old nonsense, I'm just going to share this with you so that you all know I don't speak with forked tongue. So I will just get rid of Platinum's quick comments. Oh, no, hang on. Wrong. So there you go. So there it is. He will wear the 29 shirt, and you're completely correct. I'm not saying that you're wrong in the slightest. Number 29, that was indeed the shirt, as you said there, Platinum. That was the shirt of Andy Irving. So what's happened there, I ask myself. I guess it's, number 29 is not a sought after number, but I just kind of figured, because what I understood was that the number 2 shirt, which was the property of Ben Johnson, well, he's now left. So the number 2's free. He's a right back. Number 2 is usually a shirt that right backs wear. So I thought that Aaron Wan-Bissaka would take that shirt, and that kind of makes sense. So I don't really know what's going on there, mate. Michael says, don't think they're running scared yet. Give it 2 months. Most YouTubers have us between 8th and 10th. All joking aside, and I said this before, Michael, and I hope you'll bear me out, I've not said we're going to win the Premier League. In fact, I was asked yesterday about my top 4, and I didn't include West Ham in it. So clearly, I don't believe that we're going to win the Premier League. It'd be great if we did, don't get me wrong. But I think, if truth be told, I think if we can challenge for the European spots, even if we fall short, if we can challenge for the European spots for the vast majority of this season, have a deep cup run, semi-finals or better, I don't care which competition, and play better football than what we did in the last couple of seasons, for me, that's a win. William says it will take time, people, for the team to gel. Just give it time. Come on, you Irons. 100%. We do have to be patient, but unfortunately, the reality, William, is that the Premier League and football nowadays, there is no patience. What was it? There was a manager in the Football League that they had their first game on Saturday. They lost, and I can't remember who it was. and they parted. He left the club. Now, I don't know if there was more behind it than just the defeat. I suspect maybe there was, but that just illustrates it. Another thing was when Frank de Boer was the manager of Crystal Palace, 4 defeats in the Premier League, and he was gone. We will give the team time until we win our first pre-games. All calmness will evaporate. You may say that, Adrian. I could not possibly comment. Merry Christmas, everyone. Are copying Chelsea with a 7-year deal? Possibly, Pete. Possibly. I don't know how that was sort of leveraged, whether that was leveraged by the players' representatives or whether that's something that we've put into play, or whether it was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But he's on a 7-year deal. So it doesn't say it's 6 with an option for an extra 1 or 5 with an option for an extra 2 or anything like that. It just says a 7-year deal. Us not playing Moisball is going to baffle teams. I think to a point, it might baffle us, because I think there are players that have just become so ingrained with playing Moisball that all of a sudden they're going to be asked to play a type of football that is completely different, and it may well take them a better time to get on board. True Barry won't know what hit them. Isn't Irving number 29? Well, as I said earlier, Rob, it says that on the website that he's got the 29 shirt, and you're right, Irving was down as the 29, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Michael, we just got to watch out for that one pass over the top now. Listen, we got it covered, Michael. You know, we got it covered. Loppy's got it covered. Don't worry about that. Starting 11 for Villa, Hammers89 says, you're going to have to tune in for the preview. I'm not going to give that now. We will talk about that on the preview, mate. I'm not going to do that right here, right now. Do you think we will make any more signings, says Stephen Knight. Thanks for coming along. Do you think there's any truth in Ivan Toney coming? No. No. In answer to that one, none whatsoever. I don't believe that for a moment. I think it's John Duran. I think if we're going to bring in another striker, it's John Duran. I think it's going to be virtually towards the end of the window. It will be after the Villa game. And I think we will leverage a deal. Probably it'd be a loan with an obligation to buy. Very similar to Jean-Claire Todibo. Do I think we'll make any more signings? Possibly 2. Although I'm hearing whispers that 3 could be on the cards, which the 3 that I think a lot of people, Kent put it earlier, Carlos Soler, John Duran, as I say, and Trevor Chalobah, I think, are the 3. He wore 29 at Palace and Man U, says Rob Singleton. Okay, I didn't realise that, and I'm guessing that there must be a little bit of a story behind that. I'm guessing. I don't know. Conceded 74. Was it 74? Jesus. I thought it was 60. He's changing to 39. Ooh. I don't think that's, but then again, sort of like, what's in a number? I mean, Declan Rice had 41 and he's had 41 his entire career, other than when he plays for England. I'd like Chalobah to come in as well, get rid of Cresswell. Listen, Cress has been a great servant for the club, Artel. I mean, look, I won't disagree with you. His race is run. He's now a bit part player. He's the senior pro, but he's not going to play that much of a role. But I don't know. I'm said, call me sentimental, Artel. I'd just like to. I'd have liked to have seen him have a testimonial. I'll be truthful, and I'd have liked to have seen that be the Betway Cup. I mean, I don't see why we couldn't have had the Betway Cup doubling up as the Aaron Cresswell testimonial. The only thing is, of course, poor sod wouldn't have really sort of had that much, because we had 15,000 in the ground and 6,500 were free tickets. Granny Ding scored a free kick goal before JWP. I think at this rate, mate, I might get a free kick goal for West Ham before JWP. Kevin Keane coached AWB at Palace. Did he? Okay, he was the one that sent him over to Roy, and the rest is history. Right back is born. Interesting. Now, I never knew that, Kent. I never knew that. Why don't they make more of a song and dance about that? On the website, how are you going to get Bissaka into a song? Mate, probably you'd have to get it rhyming with Musaka. That's the only thing that off the top of my head that rhymes with Bissaka is Musaka. But how the hell are you going to do that? But listen, the people that come up with these charts, the people that come up with these songs are absolute geniuses. They really are. Stephen says, nice bit of trivia. It is. I didn't realise that. James, if you're still there, matey, if you're still there, did you want to pop on? I'll tell you what I'm going to do, just real quick, right? You might not be able to, and that's fine. But if you want to jump on, I will find you on WhatsApp, and I will send you the link. And if you want to come on and talk about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you are more than welcome. And if you don't, because you got other things on the go, don't feel obliged to. It's not a problem as far as I'm concerned, but it'd be great to get you on and have a little chat. Wan-Bissaka is the best signing of the window. 15 million, Premier proven, and great age. What's not to like, James? What's not to like? We've got 78 if you're watching at the minute. Talking of likes, please make sure you drop a like on this stream and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're making some really good moves. I mean, when I came back after my little break, we was on 499 subscribers and we are now on 816. That's some really good moves in about 3 weeks, and we've got 53 likes right now on this stream. But as I say, we got 77 of you watching, so if the rest of you could pitch in and just drop a like on stream, as I say, it won't cost you anything. 80 watching, Jesus Christ. Thank you for coming. Chalobah's a good shout. I would sign him. Yeah, he's with the stiffs at the minute at Chelsea, so his career's going nowhere. So I think if we can get a deal fashioned that is going to work for everybody, it wouldn't be a bad shout. I think he's got potential. Hopefully, with the players we have, Loppy will change the formation mid-game, depending on how things are going. I think that you can be assured of, Peter. I think that Lopetegui is one of the premier coaches in Europe. His reputation precedes him. He's obviously won the Europa League with Sevilla. He's coached at Real Madrid. He's coached Spain. And you don't get to those destinations if you're a mug. You've got to have something about you. He will adapt and evolve in the 90 minutes, which is something I don't think Moyes did. He was very much, he had plan A, and if plan A didn't work, it was like keep battering them with plan A until they sort of give up. And it's like, mate, it's not going to work. Okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring on Ben Johnson for the last sort of 20 minutes. We are indeed joined by the one and only Mr. James Fever. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. I'm in seven heaven or 8 heaven now, is it? How many players have run out of
8,
paperwork?
mate. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's what we all deserve as fans. Let's be honest. Like, it's been a long time coming, and we're acting like a big club at last. And we're signing some big players, mate. I'm not gonna lie.
So, what was your reaction? I mean, look, I think it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
But when it was announced around just after midday was when I heard it. What was your reaction? Was you pleased? I'm guessing you were.
Yeah, I'm over the moon, mate. Yeah, I'm not being funny. We've got a 15 million pound player that's worth more than 15 million pound. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't understand how West Ham are doing it, but listen, I ain't going to complain. We've been waiting ages for this. We need a right back at this club, and we need a good right back at this club. And to get a right back tied down for the next 7 years, someone of Wan-Bissaka's ability, listen, it's only going to benefit us long term. Because what it is now is over the next 2 years, we haven't got an identifier right back, so we've already got a quality right back. So you go in other positions. But listen, I'm over the moon, mate. 15 mil to bring in like the reinforcements that we've got currently right now. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen this year, but it's going to be fun. Whatever happens.
I'm looking forward to it, mate. Honestly, that we've been starved of good quality football, and it's one of those, mate. I'm all I want to see is good football. I want to see us having a go. I want to see us competing on all fronts. And look, if we don't make European football, we get damn close, and we've played good football to get there. It will be, as far as I'm concerned, a win. And just to answer Michael's question, it's every second Thursday of every month is what the scheduled is at the moment. That, they might make me an offer, West Ham Network, to maybe do it some more often, but at the minute it's every second Thursday of the month. James, does it concern you? And I'm not trying to pour cold water onto the fire or anything like that. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here. Does it concern you that Aaron Wan-Bissaka is a much vaunted defender going forwards doesn't offer so much. In the modern game, the fullback is seen as the player to provide the width in most teams nowadays. Does that concern you?
Nah. I want me right back to defend first, attack later. Like, do you know what I mean? I think we've got enough
Same.
attackers like Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, Somerville. We've got some really good attackers. I don't expect Aaron Wan-Bissaka to be attacking all the time, but I want him to be our defender. I think what it does, it gives license to Emerson to go forward, and then Wan-Bissaka slots in as a third centre half who he can sort of cover, and West Ham can shimmy across. So you got like Tobido, Kilman, Wan-Bissaka as a three-man defence as a player goes forward. It's exciting. Like, listen, I see that, Rob, and I hear that quite a lot about his attacking ability. I don't think he's that bad. Like, do you know what I'm saying? I've seen Ryan Fredericks at this club and before Sufal, and like that was bad. So listen, I think Wan-Bissaka will be fine. I really do. I actually personally believe he's the best signing out the lot, and that's saying something. It really is.
Do you think, though, that given that we're obviously on Tuesday, and I'm not too sure what Aaron Wan-Bissaka's involvement has been. I think he did play a friendly, but didn't he come off injured a week or so ago? But obviously, Darren's question there, who do you think starts, given that he's obviously only got the deal done on the Tuesday, so he's going to have limited time training with the squad? Do you think it will be Kufal that lines up against Villa?
I think it might be. Like, but if he's fit and he's ready to go, and he says like I'm fit and I'm ready, it's Lopetegui ball, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? I think what it is with Sufal, it's an hard one with him because a lot of people are very sentimental with him. And one thing with West Ham fans, I don't know whether you agree on this, Rob, but some fans are very sentimental with players. Yeah,
I'm one of them.
They just do not want to let go. Like it's like a tug of war with a player. Yeah. And I think a lot of fans are like that with Sufal to a point. A lot of fans look at him and say, "Look what he's done. He's amazing. He's been
good
great
service.
Yeah, good servant and everything." But this new era is an era that I've never seen in my life. I'm 37 years old. I've never seen West Ham go out in a summer transfer window and not just buy players, but buy quality. Like it's a mixture. You got experience in Forcrew, you got Somerville, you got Guilherme, you've got Kilman to sort of stabilise things. You've got Aaron Wan-Bissaka on a good deal, and I was listening to what you said before I come on. You might have three more coming in, right, with that. Do you know what I'm saying? So you're going to have a completely new shape, new side. And listen, whatever happens this year, as long as my attitude is this year, as long as West Ham finish in the top 10, right, I think that is a reasonable achievement for me. West Ham finish in top 10, so if West Ham finish 9th, I'll go, all right, fair enough, I can accept that. If West Ham finish 12th and it's just like starting away, I'll be like, I don't know about that one, but I want to see West Ham top 10.
Let me play devil's advocate, James. Let's say I'll give you 12th.
Yep.
I'll give you significantly better football than we've seen for the last couple of years. Football that gets you out of your seat. And a League Cup win. I
think you accept that. I think you accept any trophy that West Ham can pick up next season, FA Cup or League Cup. I think any fan would accept that. If West Ham finished 13th, I think they would accept that. Like they accepted it when we finished 14th under Moyes, so they're going to accept it with this guy. Do you know what I'm saying? The issue is that I feel that we have to act like a big club because otherwise our big players won't be here next season. If that makes sense. So like Kudus, Paqueta, Alvarez, like what West Ham are doing basically is selling the dream to everyone and saying, right, this is what we're trying to be. Yous are a part of it. We want to bring reinforcements in to make us be that established top 10, top 8 side. And listen, like I don't know. If one day I look at it and I think West Ham could do something. Another day I think, I don't know. Like it's the West Ham way. You just don't know what's going to happen. So I'm excited though. I'm nervous. I'm going to be honest. I am slightly nervous because this is a complete unknown and we just don't know what we're going to get. But I'm excited to see all these players in action for us consistently.
Does making all these signings actually put pressure on us?
A little bit, but I do. I think we have got as a fan base, we have got to expect now. Like our expectations now have got to be competing for Europe. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm glad for that. I am, because we're not West Ham of old anymore, and I understand it. I understand the brand of football and everything, but West Ham need to be top end, like a top end side, and never be in any fear of relegation ever again. Like, with the amount of money that we spend, with the 16th richest club on the planet, we've got the best fans on the planet, and we should be going up rather than down. Do you know what I'm saying? So there is pressure there. There is 100% pressure. Like Kilman for me is the pressure one for me, because I look at him and I think £40 million for this geezer.
Mm.
He's gonna have to perform 7 out of 10 and up every game. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. But it is exciting. I mean, the one thing I will temper it all with is the fact that 2 years ago, and I'm sure you'll remember this, James, we did quite a lot of business in that summer transfer window. And I remember at the time, everybody, myself included, I'm going to hold my hands up. I fell into the trap of sitting there and going, oh, this is wonderful. We're signing all these players. It's brilliant. Da, 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 da. Fast forward 2 years. So now to the present day. And of all those players that we brought in, 4 of them are only remaining at the club. All the rest have moved on to pastures new. And of the 4 that are left, one of them is Maxwell Cornet, who is very likely to be on his way and has really contributed not that much. And the other one is Naif Aguirre, who, again, I suspect may well be out to pastures new before he's too much older. The only 2 that would be left if those 2 go are going to be Emerson and Alphonse Areola. So
And
that's
Paqueta.
the one thing where I'm like, and Paqueta, excuse me. And so that's the thing, is that sort of like, I do sit there and go, yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. And the players on paper, I'm impressed with, the caliber of players such as Aaron Wan-Bissaka, principally. I sort of look at and go, yeah, these are proper players. The question is, are they all going to mesh? Are they all going to hit the ground running? How are they going to sort of react to this way of playing, along with the old guard, the players that are already in the building? How are they going to adapt to the new? Because, as I say, a lot of these players, the older players I'm talking about, are so indoctrinated in the Moyes ball philosophy that now Lopetegui's going to say to him, no. What you've been doing for the last couple of years, scrub that. And it's kind of like muscle memory. It's not as easy as that to just all of a sudden go, oh, right, I'm going, because there will be moments during a match where I'm sure you'll have a player that will make a decision that Lopetegui will be on the touchline going, what bloody hell are you doing that for? And the player will be like, oh, sorry, I forgot you're not David Moyes.
I understand what you're saying. Don't get me wrong, but I think Lopetegui's been around long enough to know what players that can cope and what ones can't. Like, I think West Ham are going to be all out attack, and it's just going to be a free for all. If I'm being honest, like, I think we're going to concede goals because that's what we do. We concede, but I think we are capable of scoring goals and all, and lots of them. But I like the ambition. That's like the key word for me is ambition. It always has been. Like, we've done shows over the years, and we've always said we wish the ownership of this club would be ambitious and go out and sign ambitious players and take us to the next level. Now, Lopetegui has got pressure on him in this situation because he's getting everything hand given to him. Like, he's getting all the players that he wants. He's getting gems. He's getting all sorts of people. And he's going to be under pressure if it doesn't click into gear straight away to a point, because a section of the fan base will be going, well, come on, like, you've got the goods. Now you've got to deliver. I think he'll be all right. But with me, I just want, as long as I can see West Ham going up, even if we finish 9th this season, I'd accept it right now. But obviously, I want to have to do better. But as long as we can stay in that top half and be consistent, then I'm happy with that. I really am.
100%. I agree. Got a question that's been fired in. Guys, if any of you got any questions, do what Peter's done and just put a Q at the beginning of it. James, I don't know how long have I got you for a little bit longer? Or?
Yeah. I'm here for as long as you want me, mate.
All right, mate. No problem. Appreciate that. If there's any questions you guys have got for either James or myself, please put it like what Peter's done there. Put a Q at the beginning. It just makes it so much easier to find. Peter asked the question, James, has Bissaka come here for a dreadlock holiday? I'll let you tackle that first.
No. Listen, he'll be fine with us. He'll be fine. I'm very, very happy with it. I think people what you got to understand with Manchester United players, and I think we'd all agree here, is when it's toxic in that club, it is toxic, right? And they will just want to just riot each other and get the scarves out and just go berserk. We had it with Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard was a player that come to us, and we all thought, oh, we don't know about this one, and he turned into a gem for that 6-month period. He was amazing, and I think the same thing's going to happen with Aaron. If I'm being honest, like, I just look at him and I think he's better. He's one of the best right backs that I think we've had for a long time. And there's no discrediting Soufal. There's a standard with Soufal, and I look at Aaron and I think Aaron's won trophies. He's played for one of the biggest clubs on the planet. Like, you don't just go and play for that club if you're not that good. So. Yeah. Listen, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think that for me, Peter, he's 26 years of age. He should be approaching his prime years. I'm sure he's got international aspirations. Now, whether they are with England or whether they are with the Democratic Republic of Congo, I'm pretty sure he will want to have international representation of some description. I don't believe that we're going to see Aaron Wan-Bissaka turning up here and getting a cigar out. I think he will want to show the very best version of himself. He comes across as a good guy. He comes across as someone that's a hard worker. I don't think he's going to be someone that's going to come in and just sort of go through the motions. I think that he's someone that we can rely upon him. I really, really do. That's an absolute fact. Got Michael's asked a question, James. And as I say, any of you others sort of got any questions to say, start it with a Q. Michael asked the question, James, who starts up front on Saturday?
Good question, mate. I got no idea. Honestly, I've got no idea. I think Füllkrug, you would probably say him for the pedigree, but is he ready for the Premier League? I think you just got to chuck him in and see how he gets on. Mikel Antonio is an interesting one, yeah, because I was listening to what you said about obviously Duran, and I think that's still on the cards. I think if Mickey gets an offer of first team football and a decent deal for 2 years or something, I think he might leave West Ham. I can't see Mikel Antonio being a first teamer for the last 6-7 years, and then basically become his second choice towards the back end of his career. So. I would probably go with Füllkrug up front, but Joe, what? I wouldn't even mind Bowen up front. Bowen up front, Kudus on the right, Somerville on the left, and then really having a good go at it. And if you've got reinforcements now, and that's one thing that we haven't had for ages is like talent from the bench. Like, we're always trying to shoehorn people in or trying to make a right back into a striker. So I think so. Füllkrug or Bowen for me. You know what I mean? But it could be Antonio.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Füllkrug because I just think can we afford to pay that money on a striker, a German international who represented his country at the European Championships not so long ago, who for his previous club played in a Champions League final? Can we afford to leave him on the bench? I will have a look now, Tony. I will have a look now at your message. But yeah, what do you think, James, while I just search out this message that I've just been sent?
I agree. Like, whatever's going to happen, like, the strike force is going to be powerful, isn't it? You've got Somerville there, Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, Antonio, Füllkrug. Now, I tell you what, if we can't score goals with them boys, there's something drastically wrong. So, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I am. Like, I am a little bit sceptical because obviously I don't know how it's going to go, but do you know what I'm saying? But on this one, we can't complain. We've definitely got the firepower now that we've been craving for years. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think we've had two strikers on the bench for a long time. So, actual natural strikers. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah, probably the last time would have probably been. Oh God, are we going back to Hartson and Kitson? Are we going back that far? No.
I'm going to say, so when we had Harewood, Zamora, and all them other boys, do you know what I mean? Probably we had Ashton in there and all. Like, it's, but I don't remember us having like a sort of like options that we got now, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think probably, you're right. We did have 4 strikers. We had Teddy Sheringham, we had Marlon Harewood, we had Bobby Zamora, and we had Dean Ashton, didn't we, in around about 2006. So, but I mean, that was a different era. That was when playing 2 strikers up front was commonplace. Now you don't really get sort of like out and out number 9 so much. They're sort of like, you might get one out and out number 9, but then you've got sort of more mobile forwards that are either side of them, sort of thing. So
inside forwards, I would say.
welcome, Lucas.
Yeah, I'd say you got more. They're more inside forwards. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like Bowen. AWB shirt number at Man United was 29. I'm behind in the live stream. Sorry if this has been cleared. It has, Ian. You're right. Don't worry about it, mate. Are there any more questions? I'm just having a little look through to see if we got another question here from Peter. James, what sort of possession will we have under Lopetegui?
Ooh, 50-50, maybe like maybe. I don't
Won't
know.
Be 30% then.
No, it won't be 30 or 25%. I think we're going to have a bit more control. That's going to be interesting to see how we hold possession and how we control the game, because that's really what Lopetegui's game is. He's like, I ain't gonna say he plays similar to most, because he doesn't, but he sets up in a way that he's very reserved in how he sets up, but he likes to control the game. Yeah, especially in the middle of the park. And I think on Saturday, obviously, there's no Alvarez, so you're going to have Rodriguez in there. You're probably going to have Suchik in there to a point, and go with them two. But I think if you was to ask any West Ham fan and say, right, go 4-2-3-1 against Villa and have a right go because you've got the attacking ability, I think everyone would accept that. Whatever the outcome, they would accept it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because we now have the firepower to go and score 2, 3, 4 goals. And I think when we play lesser teams, I think that benefits us also, because we ain't going to be sort of sitting there reserved. We're just going to go all out attack and try and blow these teams out the water if we can.
Sorry about that. I'm going to turn this one into a little bit of a question, although Michael hasn't posed it as a question, but I'm going to use it to leverage a question at you, James. And guys in the live chat, I'll also fire it at you. Obviously, we don't leave London for the first 6 Premier League games. Is that a hindrance or is that help?
Help. Because what it is less travel. So you ain't got to be travelling up north and like going up to Newcastle one week and then down to Southampton the following week, and we're not all over the place. Well, at least if we can get off to a good start, then that will benefit us massively. Do you know what I mean? But I think it all depends on the start for me. But we've got to play these teams twice, home and away. So it doesn't matter when we play them. But I think it's nice to have that sort of start, really.
Yeah, I'm a little bit torn, because I understand what you're saying, that, you know, if we were sort of like home game in London, away game in Manchester, home game in London, away game in Newcastle, home game in London, away game in Merseyside, I get that the travel would be quite a problem, an obstacle, but I sort of kind of think, well, they're sort of finely tuned athletes and they've been doing it all their careers, so it's probably not that big a deal. However, playing a London derby does tend to sort of bring out in opposition players. I believe that the opposition players will try that much harder because there's local bragging rights. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is why when sort of like I hear people turning around and saying that the reason why traditionally London clubs don't tend to do so well in terms of winning league titles is because in a 38 game Premier League season, there's an awful lot of derbies that you've got to play.
Yeah. South London, West London, North London.
Yeah.
You're all over the place. And the thing is, if I've got this right, after the international break, I think we've got Brentford, Chelsea, Fulham, and there's someone else in there who's a London club. I think it might even be Spurs, or someone like that towards the back end of the month.
I'll get the fixtures up.
But it is a bit of a mad one, I'm not going to lie.
Right, so opening Premier League fixtures. So we have got obviously the home game against Villa, then we're away to Palace, home against Man City, away to Fulham, home to Chelsea, away to Brentford, home to Ipswich, away to Spurs, home to Manchester United, and we finally leave the metropolis for a Premier League match on the 2nd of November, match week 10.
Yeah, well, I think it's a plus, mate, because they're going to get all their frustrations out of these London derbies, and then eventually they're going to be chilling towards the back end. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I take it.
Fair enough. And Bill came in. I'm just going to have a look. There he is. Bill, hope you're doing well, mate. In Pellegrini's first season, we had Arnie, Chicharito, Andy Carroll, and Lucas Perez. We did. I remember, although, yeah, they were strikers, but I mean, Andy Carroll was sort of like heading towards his last knockings, wasn't he, at that point? Lucas Perez, we didn't really see the best of him. But you're right, Bill. I'm not saying you're wrong, but yeah. Don't care. They want more tourists, but do you know what? Right, and now I was discussing this yesterday. I don't know if you saw my live stream that I did last night, James, about the obviously the protest, the boycott. Have you seen the stream that Nikki put out from West Ham Fan TV? Have you seen it?
Yeah,
disgusting, isn't it?
terrible, mate. Terrible. Look, I'm going to be honest, Rob. I've known you what, 3 years? Got to be. And even when I
maybe a bit longer, but
yeah, basically, even when I first said it, like I haven't set foot in there like since Upton Park, which is going to be it'll be 9 years at the end of this coming season.
Yep.
The thing is, the way they're treating the fans is how they treat the local community, and what it is now, it's affecting everyone now because all the ticket prices, and it is a bit like a dictatorship there. I'm not going to lie, it feels like it. You know what I mean? It feels like you got to do as you're told, and you're not allowed to say anything. If you do, you got the threat of losing your ticket or being chucked out. Do you know what I'm saying? And it shouldn't be like that. But I did see it, and I'm not surprised. The only thing that surprises me the most is it didn't come sooner. But I think because of COVID and everything that happened in them sort of COVID era, it would have been happening in that sort of 2020 period. But it's disgusting, mate. And I do feel for the younger generation. I'm not going to lie. I look at them, and I think we've all grown up, like you've got kids. I was young, and my granddad used to take me, and my dad used to take me, and it's not right. It really isn't.
No, and I'll tell you what. Let's also get your take on this, James. I've been quite open in how I feel on this. The fact that last looked last night, and I'm just having a little look now to see if anything's changed significantly. No, not significantly. There has been an upsurge, but I'm going to share this because there might be people watching that may actually be wondering what the hell we're talking about. So if you are, then please could you do us a favor and go onto this petition here. And I'm just going to go full screen with it so that everybody's got this front and center on their screen. This is a petition that has been started by Hammers United regarding the removal of the concessions in bands 1 through to 4. So in other words, ladies and gentlemen, let's say you've got a young child and your young child has expressed an interest in going to watch West Ham play at London Stadium. They are not going to be able to get a concession priced ticket unless they are basically up in the gods, which I think is a little bit much. And not only little toddlers, but also your father, your grandfather, your uncle, your great uncle. Now, I'm 48, James. I've got a left knee that's not in great shape, and I'm as far back as you can get in the stadium and not have anybody behind you that is still in the stadium. I'm in row 73. Okay. I find it quite a chore to get up there. Now, on Monday, I was at the Kennington Oval watching the 100 in the cricket. Okay. So let me just get rid of that. So I was in row 5. So I'm quite close to the front of the ground. And there was a gentleman in the row behind me. So we're talking row 6. Elderly gentleman. It was quite a hot day. He'd been sitting there for most of the day, and then all of a sudden he had a bit of a funny turn. I guess it was heat stroke, whatever. And dealing with that medical emergency was quite problematic. And he was in row 6. Now, just imagine that happens, a medical emergency, elderly gentleman, row 73 where I'm sitting, and you've got to deal with that. How do you think that's going to pan out, James? I think I know the answer to that.
Bad. It's going to like it. It's so bad, right? And I just see the petition there. And I'm glad it's sort of going up slowly, but I'm going to be honest. My personal opinion is this protest needs to be intensified even more. Like
100%.
like it needs to be up to another notch. Like, don't get me wrong, the boycott at the weekend was the right thing to do, but on a 6 weeks holiday, and I said it on my stream yesterday with Brian from West Ham Fan TV, I said doing it on a 6 week holiday where the kids are off school, kids are going to look at it. West Ham are playing on a Saturday, like the tickets are dirt cheap because it's a friendly. They're going to want to go. Yeah. My personal take is, and some people agree with this, some people don't, is that you need to be consistent, persistent, and relentless in basically getting your voice across. Now, I use this as an example. I could go up to Leeds or Manchester and go up to someone in the street and say, "Did you know there's a boycott for tickets in at West Ham at the weekend?" And they wouldn't have a clue what I was talking about.
No.
I think you've got to go through the media, and you've got to go through it hard, i.e., doing something at home games, protesting at home games, protesting absolutely every away game, because obviously they can't be touched at away games, and you've just got to be relentless and consistent. I think. And also for me, I think a mass walkout would do wonders. I know people don't agree with that, but if on the 75th minute you walk out, everyone walks out the ground and says this is not acceptable in the modern game. Do you know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't take long before Sullivan changes his tune because the media spotlight will be straight on West Ham and saying, "Well, what is going there? You've signed all these players and you're basically prizing out the locals," sort of thing. And £100 a ticket, Rob, for an under 16 or an under 21 is it's borderline like disgusting to a point. And I've done the maths on it. Like to go out, 4 tickets, 2 adults, 2 children, food and drink, travel. You're looking at about £600. Like for
Great, mate.
yeah, and no one in the modern day can afford that. Like if I'm looking at £600, I might as well go away to sort of Benidorm for a week or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
it's just mad. And as I was saying, I'm very strong on this. Like I am because that's why I won't set foot in there. Like I won't set because Sullivan's played the game with the fans, and some fans will look at this and go, "Well, look at the talent that we're bringing in," and so they've always like they will use that argument and say, "Well, like, but you can't take away the locals for the sake of the talent." Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I mean, my take on it is right. I think that they, and when I say they, I'm talking Sullivan and Brady. Maybe not so much Kretinsky because I don't know enough about him to really sort of pass judgment on him. But I think he's at least complicit if he's allowing this, if he's a bystander allowing this to unfold. I mean, he is not the majority shareholder, but he's got the second highest stake in the club. This is an attack on the future generation. This is an attack on the generations past. We will end up in a situation where we have a clutch of fans that just simply can't afford to go to the games. The younger generation, I'm talking. The older generation, I'll deal with separately. But the younger generation, you know, daddy, can I go and watch my heroes play? I'm sorry, son. I seriously cannot afford to spend out £700-800 for a season ticket for you. Now that little kid is not really going to sort of have a comprehension about what that actually means. So that's a generation of supporters that are lost. Now, realistically, the hierarchy aren't going to give two hoots about that. And the reason for that is because all the time we are a Premier League club and all the time we're a Premier League club that's actually doing relatively successfully, there will always be someone that will take that ticket. Unfortunately, that is the reality. There will always be someone, and they may not be a dyed-in-the-wool West Ham fan, James, like you and I. They probably are some middle class, and I put this on the stream to Nikki as my response. They will probably be someone middle class from Pimlico, Giles, Pippa, Hugo, and Tabitha, a family of 4, rocking up to the London Stadium. Oh, this is jolly good, and and they turn up, and the money to them means nothing because Giles is a lawyer. Pippa's a sort of like a PR of some sort of fucking big financial institute, and Hugo and Tabitha go to private school, right? Now that's all very well and good. Okay, they're paying the money, and it's like they're doing the bizzo. They're not really West Ham fans, but they're like, oh yes, we go and watch Premier League football. And listen, I do apologise to Charles and Pippa. I am going after them. It's true. But you know what I'm saying, Peter, and
Yeah.
I'm sure you agree with me, right? That's all well and good when we're a Premier League team. We've been relegated 4 or 5 times in my lifetime, James, and it's not beyond the realms of possibility. If the cards fell in a certain direction, that maybe the unthinkable does happen one day. Maybe. Now, do you think that Giles, Pippa, Hugo, and Tabitha are going to come to London Stadium from Pimlico on a Tuesday evening in mid-November when it's pissing down with rain, the wind's howling, and we're playing Doncaster Rovers? I've got a funny feeling you will find Giles and Pippa have left Tabitha and Hugo with the au pair, and they've pissed off to their local bistro to have a tofu burger and mineral water, and West Ham are a distant memory, and we've then got a 62,500-seater stadium that is completely empty other than about 30-odd thousand hardcore fans. Well done, Mr. Sullivan. Well done.
Yeah. What it is with him, with Sullivan, is the moment he said West Ham United London, that was the moment he was making it into a franchise. And I knew this back in 2016. Someone, I'll never forget it. Yeah, I walked out of Upton Park, and someone I know very, very well said to me, James, that's the end of West Ham now, as you know it. And I went, what do you mean? He went, they're going to turn it into a franchise. They've got the stadium. It's all about branding. Like, it's like you're branding the product, and West Ham are the product to them. And for me, West Ham London and other like certain things that's happened over the course of a few years, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to literally hand it to people who are just day trippers to a point. Do you know what I mean? They will go there, watch a game of football, go home, and it doesn't mean anything to them. And we've discussed this on different platforms. I remember doing a show with you last year, about a year and a half ago, with Sean Whetstone, JP, and Jazz. And I said on there that when you've got different, when you've got rival fans in the home end, that tells you all you need to know. That basically it's not about West Ham. It's about like ticking that sort of tick box to say, you know what? Yes, we've got a person in that seat in row F. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is it's not right, mate. What do you think on that, Rob? Do you think it will ever change, or do you think it's just done?
I don't think it's going to change while we've got the current incumbent in.
Yeah,
I really don't. And unfortunately, I've got no real hope that it's going to change ever, because unfortunately, for better or for worse, I think all the time that we operate in the Premier League where greed is good, I think that whoever replaces David Sullivan will probably be another David Sullivan. Probably he will be Middle Eastern, probably he will be American, but fundamentally he won't really give two hoots about the sort of hardcore support like you, like me, like our parents, our grandparents, whatever. Won't really give two hoots about the next generation, because all the time that we operate as a Premier League club, it's a gravy train.
Yeah, I agree. Would one question I am going to ask, and I don't know how people are going to feel about this one, but if that was our own ground and we owned it, and that was like West Ham United's lock, stock, and barrel, would that be acceptable for the ticket prices the way they are, considering it's our own ground and like, so to speak, or would it be the same? Because I think with a lot of people, they look at it and think, well, you're renting a stadium that don't even belong to us, and you're charging extortionate amounts to go and watch a stadium, like go to a stadium.
I actually think it's worse. I think it's worse now. We're paying a peppercorn, relatively speaking, James, for what we've got. And look, I'm not going to shy away that it's not a football stadium by design, right? And that's a failure of the people that went for the Olympics, and there was all that nonsense about an athletics legacy. We are not an athletics mad country. We went mad for it in 2012. That's it. Other than that, really, we don't really care that much about athletics. You were holding it up the road from a football club that at the time was a Premier League club and still is. So surely there should have been some joined up thinking to design the stadium like they designed the stadium at the Sydney Olympics, where it was multi-purpose, i.e. someone in a booth somewhere presses a button and the stands are on runners and they move out. There's the athletic track. You press it a button again, it moves in. Now it's configured for a football match, a rugby match, a test cricket match, whatever, right? We didn't do that. We had all that nonsense about let's have an athletics legacy. So we're now stuck with this athletic stadium that we're trying to shoehorn football into. Now, I will concede that it's more like football stadium now than it was when we first walked into it in 2016. But unfortunately, it will never be, it has never been, it never will be a football stadium. Now, we've got it on as I say, we've got it on a peppercorn rent. For what we've got, a 62,500 seat stadium, we have got it on a peppercorn rent. Yes, it's not a football stadium, but we've got it on a peppercorn rent. I actually think that having the ticket prices as they are now is actually worse than if we had our own stadium, because we're paying absolutely sod all for it, James.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
You know, that's just my take on it. I think that they're absolutely, what they're doing is absolutely disgraceful. Pitts, I'm being facetious. It's a little bit of humor on my part. Don't take it too seriously when I made the reference about Hugo and Tabitha and all that. Listen, I'm a working class guy. James is a working class guy. Most of the people know that it's a little bit of fun on my part. I'm not having a dig at people specifically. It's just a little bit of banter. Don't take it too seriously. Anyway, got a couple more questions. James, if you would just indulge us. Villa will be a tough game, says Bill, but being the first game, is it a good time to play them?
100%. I think Villa are going to be like, obviously, last season they were very, very good. I'd rather get these out the way now. And if we can take them apart on Saturday, then that's like a statement of intent. And I think that's a good thing for West Ham. I think West Ham need a good opening game to get up and running. I don't think playing someone like Southampton at home would have done it. I think Villa at home, 5:30 kickoff Saturday night, that's a game to get up for, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Got a couple more questions here. Thanks for this, guys, and please do keep them coming in. James, if at any point you're like, look, mate, I've got to disappear, then please feel free. As I say, you stay for as long as you can. It's a pleasure to have you as always.
No worries.
Is it still the case we can't now draw Millwall in the cups after the last time, or is that not true? If that's true, Peter, I missed that memo. Have you heard about this, James?
No. That's discrimination. That is against us for Millwall.
Listen, I mean, you know, I know there was the shenanigans that went on. Bloody hell, how long ago is that? That's got to be a good 15 years ago now when that all kicked off.
2009, that was. Yeah, that was a very, very, very mad night. Because what happened was on that night is a West Ham fan got stabbed at Mile End, I think it was, with his young son. That's the reason why it was going mental in there, and that's why it was such intensified. Because obviously that got round and realised that it was Millwall done that, and yeah, it wasn't very good that night. I must admit, that's one of the one games where I've been to, and I was like, I want to get home. I don't want to be like. I was happy being there, but don't get me wrong. I was like, this is a level where I've never been to before. Do you know what I mean? I've been to like Tottenham and Chelsea and things like that, and that's been a bit mental. But West Ham Millwall, down Green Street is something that is a bit, frightening, really, to a point.
Yeah, I think and the second round draw is tomorrow, and I've actually got a live stream that I've set up for that, ladies and gentlemen. So if any of you are around, please jump on at 10:10 tomorrow evening. Your company would be appreciated. But it's one of those. On the one hand, I'd actually love to see West Ham Millwall play each other. I'm not particularly bothered whether it's at their gaff or ours. Probably I'd slightly favour ours, obviously home advantage. But you know, it's a game that really sort of gets the heart pumping. Do you know what I mean? But at the same time, you remember back to that last time, and I remember obviously previous league encounters. Obviously, with the league encounters, the police can turn around and say we want it as a noon kickoff, so that you've not got them like fans getting in the pubs, getting tanked up before blah blah blah. Unfortunately, the way that the League Cup set up, it's Tuesday night, Wednesday night, so unfortunately, you probably will have fans getting tanked up and on the piss. And obviously what we saw that night was testament to that fact. So I don't know, Pete, and obviously James has said the same thing. We're not aware that that's something that's off the menu. I mean, I'm not being funny. I know that obviously Chelsea Millwall could be a problem fixture. Chelsea Leeds could be a problem fixture. Leeds Millwall could be a problem fixture, and I've never heard any of them mentioned as being, oh no, we can't have them as a draw. But it's really sort of like interesting that West Ham Millwall, it seems to be like, oh, that's off the menu, mate. In a League Cup, if that comes out, we might sort of like say, oh no, sorry, we got to draw that again, sort of thing.
I agree.
But Ricky comes in, says, for James, what's your banker bet for the Hammers Villa game? Go on, James. What you putting a sneaky fiver on?
I'm gonna say both teams to score. I think that's nailed on. I think we concede, but I think we score. I don't know why. Both teams to score, and I fancy Mo to score a goal on Saturday night. I really do. I think he's looked good in pre-season. I think he looks right up. He looks right up for it also. So I'm going to say both teams to score, and Mohamed Kudus any time for a little fiver bet. There you go.
There you go. Get your money on it, and if it comes up trumps, Ricky, just remember that James saw you right, and if you ever see him sort of like knocking around, you still in Dagenham, James?
I'm currently in Suffolk in a minute, and my missus is at place.
Of course you are. Yeah. Well, if you're around the Suffolk area and you see James wandering around, if your bet comes in, just make sure you sort of like you slip him a sort of like a nice little fiver so he can go and get himself a pint or a soft drink if he should so wish. Peter's come in, James. Has it all been put to bed with that ex-Newcastle woman pumping money into the club? He's talking about Amanda Staveley.
Yeah, I haven't heard nothing else on that, but we need to find out where all this money's coming from, because apparently we only had 65 million and we spent a lot more than that. So unless there's a hidden investor somewhere that we don't know about, but I haven't heard nothing on that. I haven't.
No. Me neither. I heard whispers about it. I think Gio did a stream on it, not maybe a week, 2 weeks ago. She basically got £500 million from obviously walking away from Newcastle United. Nice if you can get it, I suppose. £500 million. Oh, don't mind if I do.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, mate, honestly, I could walk away from something and get £500 million, not a problem. Yeah. If you want me to do that, I'll quite happily just sort of disappear down the Kermit.
I've got a question for you, Rob, and this is a question for the chat and all. Number one, who's going to win Player of the Year for West Ham this year?
Ooh.
And number two, who's going to disappoint you this year? And that's for everyone in the chat also, so get your comments in. And smash a like on the video. Help Rob out. Go on.
Yeah, please do. See, the thing is, with the latter question, who's going to disappoint me? See, the problem is for them to disappoint me, I'm going to have to. My expectation is that they're going to have to do well, because if they're going to, if my expectation is that they're going to disappoint me, and they do disappoint me, then actually they're probably not disappointing me in reality because I expected it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think
so. I hope nobody disappoints me for that reason. And I hope a Player of the Year. Do you know what? I'm gonna say Bowen.
Well, you reckon he's gonna have the same season that he had last year?
I think he's gonna be better. I think the fact that he's now got the captaincy, I think you're going to see Jared Bowen stepping up a level. I seriously do. I think he's He obviously saw Mark Noble up close and personal, and Mark's still around the club. He saw Declan Rice. He was obviously very close to Declan as well. And I think that he will try and emulate what he saw them bring to the party. I really do. I think he's going to be. I hope we see Jared Bowen, and don't get me wrong, Jared Bowen without the armband, what he produced in the last couple of seasons, outstanding. Can't argue with that. But I just think that him having that armband now will just make him puff up his chest that little bit more than would otherwise be the case.
I am going to say Mohamed Kudus. I don't know why. I think this is the season where he breaks out into being a superstar. And don't get me wrong, I agree with you on Bowen. I really do. I think Bowen's got that responsibility now that we've asked for. Like, we've got someone there who is going to be here for a long time, loves the club, family loves the club, his in-laws love the club. And I think that will benefit us, having someone in there who genuinely cares. Do you know what I'm saying? My flop of the season, I've got a feeling Emerson. I don't know why. Right? I don't know why, because I think a lot of traffic is going to go down that left-hand side. I think because the right-hand side is going to be done. Now, whether or not he's going to be a flop, as in really, really bad, that's a different story altogether. But as someone who isn't going to be as good as what he has been, I am going to say Emerson on that regard. I just feel the left-hand side is a little bit lighter than the right. When you look at Toledo and you look at Wan-Bissaka, I think that's solid. I think the left-hand side with Kilman and Emerson, I think there's little chinks in there. Do you know what I mean? But I think Mo or Lucas Paqueta. Lucas Paqueta stays with West Ham for a year, and we don't know what's going to happen with him. We don't, with the gambling thing and all that. He might just turn into the absolute gem and superstar and go, right, if this is my final hurrah, I might as well do it with West Ham sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
I think he's looked outstanding. What I've seen of him in pre-season.
Yeah.
The game against Celta Vigo, I thought, and like I say, the asterisk is it's a pre-season friendly, Rob. But I can only judge on what I've seen it. He was outstanding. He was pulling the strings. Everything went through him in that game. He was like, if he can replicate that through the vast majority of the Premier League, he's in for a big season.
Yeah, I agree. I think coming back and playing 45 minutes and putting in that 45-minute performance for what he did, especially in that first half, I just thought it was excellent. I'm not going to lie. And it is unreal when I think about it, when you got Paqueta, Kudus, Bowen, and then you got the new recruits like Somerville, he's like an up-and-comer, Fulcru. It's a different West Ham, which is nice. It's very nice to be in the spotlight for the positives rather than the negatives, Rob. Do you know what I'm saying?
Definitely. We've got one more question. If anyone's got any more questions they want to fire out, put a Q at the beginning of it. Other than that, we're probably going to wrap this up fairly soon. But Epic's come in and said, rumour has it that Wolves are interested in Antonio. James, would you sell?
Yes, 100%. I think if a Tony or a Duran comes up on offer, and I heard what you said before I come on about Tony. I think there's something happening with that. There's a reason why. I really do. I think what it is with the Tony situation is that's going to go right late into the window, and I think it's going to go to the last day. And I think Brentford will have to make a decision either to take what's being offered or risk losing him for free. I don't think Brentford can lose him for free, mate. I don't think they can afford to lose him for free. I think if someone offers them 35 million for Ivan Toney, I think they're going to take it. So you've got a choice, Duran or Tony. Now, the Duran one is a situation where Villa have put him in that situation to a point because he wants to leave. They're refusing him to leave, and no one else is coming in for him. So
I think we're complicit in that as well, James. If I might just say, I think we've got a part to play in that.
Yeah, but I think that will help us also. I think we get the Villa game out of the way, and then we will go after Duran. And if that is the case, and we take Antonio out, 9 years, been a really good servant, West Ham's all-time record goal scorer, let him go, let Ings go, and you've got Fulkrug, Duran, and you've got Bowen as your sort of three main sort of attacking centre forwards. That's quite a frightening front three. Like, I think, and we discussed it on here, the sentimental value has to go out the window now. Like, Mickey's been a really good servant. He's done his time. And if you want West Ham to compete at that level, can Mickey do it over a season? Possibly, but is he going to want to be second choice? But I just don't think he does. I think his ego won't allow him to be there. If someone comes up and says to him, "There's a 2-year deal, and we're going to give you the same wages at West Ham," I think he goes. I really do.
Fair enough. We've got no more questions that have come in, James, so I'm probably going to wrap it up
No worries, mate.
fairly soon. Appreciate you coming on, really do. We've currently got 79 watching, and last I looked, we've actually got 79 likes. That's quite symmetrical. But if there's any of you that are not one of those 79 likes, please do make sure you drop a like on the stream before we shut this down. Don't also forget to share this stream to your social media platforms, and don't forget to subscribe. A lot of people see the word subscribe and they might think that it's going to cost them something financially. It absolutely won't. It's completely free of charge. It takes you a couple of seconds, and as I say, it helps grow the channel. And please, 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 also don't forget, if you haven't already subscribed to this young man's channel as well, E20 Zone TV, as it says on the banner just there. Yeah, my fingers disappeared. Go and check it out. Go and check it out. James is on there. He's very strong. He's very strident in his opinions. He's not. I don't think he'll have a go at me for saying he's not backwards in coming forwards with his opinions. But he says what he thinks and he thinks what he says. And there's plenty of good debates to be had on there. So get across to E20 Zone TV.
Thank you very much, Rob.
No problem.
Also, thank you very much for having me on. This is a message to everyone. This is a message to everyone. Subscribe to Rob. Let's get him to 1,000. Like, I will promote him tomorrow. I'll be doing a stream tomorrow, big stream, Premier League prediction. So I will put his sort of link in the bio, and do subscribe to this man's channel. He needs to get to 1,000. He needs to be like every other West Ham fan channel at the minute, and he's just lumbered in that 800 mark, and that is a tough old slog. So subscribe to his channel, like the video. James. And it goes a long way, and eventually he will get to the 1,000 club, and then he'll be happy.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, James, and thank you very much. Right, I shall knock it on the head. Don't forget to give your support to the Iron Supporting Food Banks charity. Don't forget to subscribe, to sign that petition, ladies and gentlemen, that I showed you earlier. That petition is vitally important, and you might not have a child now. You might not have an elderly relative now, but at some point in the future you will. And if you react in a year or two's time, unfortunately, it's going to be too late. So get your name on that signature now. Come on, you Irons, and we'll see you next time.
Iron Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.